Okay, guys, we need to talk about the First Descendant. There was a major patch that came out, I believe it was yesterday, but I wanted to talk about this before the patch dropped. Um, this game is not going in the direction I specifically want, as someone that grinds it very frequently. Um, let's just cut to the chase here. There's nothing to actually grind for. There's a lot to grind, but there's nothing to achieve. So, most of this game, from what I've played so far, has been grind the thing to achieve the power fantasy, and then embark on said power fantasy and blow stuff up. And that's been great. Then they decided to fix weapons, right? And in fixing weapons, they made weapons really, really good. You can actually use them on Descendants now, and you can fight bosses, and that's great. But to get the weapons to be good, you need to grind Void Erosion Purge. Void Erosion Purge is extremely toxic. Like, it's bad. If you don't know what it is, it's this thing over here. I've done all of Purge, so I know what I'm talking about. But specifically stages 28 and 29 are so unrealistically hard, it's ridiculous. I understand the idea of making skills suck and weapons good, so that you actually use weapons. But, like, you show electric weakness here, and everyone wants to bring their Inez. And because it's so hard to solo clear, you end up matchmaking. And then you end up on teams full of Inezes that do 0 damage. I cleared a stage 30 with my gun Valby. Her dots did literally 1 damage. 1 damage a second. Why? Why are we nerfing us so unbelievably hard to get a basic material that we need to actually progress in the game? Like, you have to get these materials if you want to hit like a real end game, right? If you want to have good weapons, you got to have these. If you don't, you're not doing it. Not only that, but you also have to grind the Defiler, right? You got to do the Void, Intercept, Battles, Abysses, because this also gives you materials required to make weapons good. Except this one's even worse because you can't even equip a core until you're strong enough to do this. Except this boss, weapons suck, and the best way to kill him and the easiest way to kill him is just to solo him with Inez, who sucks in the other mode. So the amount of grind that it requires to hit endgame and get these things not only is ridiculously hard, unless you're with multiple people who are using the exact right team comps and strategies, and that are already at that point in the game, there's nothing to do once you finish it. Void Erosion 30 is actually easier than 29 and 28, believe it or not. In order to do this, you have to have already beaten the hardest bosses, which is Defiler, and you've probably already done Deathstalker, which is supposed to be the hardest content we have. So once you're done with that, there's nothing. What's the point? Now, I'm not saying what's the point in playing, but what's the point in gaining this power? Because I play for the power fantasy and the collecting of the characters. I love collecting the characters. The characters are dope. There's so many cool characters in this game. I have all of them built extremely well. I got insane builds on all of them. They're very good. They're very fun. Like, Valby's probably my main. I like her probably the best. But, like, I have Glay now. And I had to build Glay, and I had to build Last Dagger and Smithereens just to clear the end game. But there's no reason to clear the end game. It's weird. I think they either have to add raids or add something like Void Erosion Purge, but with a payoff. Now let me explain. I like Void Erosion Purge. It requires you to play as a team. It requires you to use stuff you don't normally use. And it's difficult. What I don't like is that you can't use most builds, right? Like 99% of your builds, you can't actually use in Void Erosion Purge. It's crazy. 99% of them. You have to either use a Haley with Albion Cavalry and Smithereens, or you go Glay, who can use the same guns I just mentioned, or add Last Dagger Albion and Restored Relic. And then you need 2 supports. You need Lepic and Enzo. If you have those things, it's really easy and it goes great. If you don't have those things, it is horrible and not fun at all. Again, I love this game, and I'm trying to be tactful about how I talk about this, which is probably why I'm talking a lot slower than usual and adding so many pauses. But I'm truly at a loss for words. I have my characters built out. I obviously enjoy the game. I get skins. Like, look at this hair. This hair looks incredible. It moves when you're jumping around the map. It's flipping and flopping. Like, it's awesome. And I understand my webcam's freezing here. I need a new webcam. I don't know what to say. I don't know why it's being so stupid. So sorry about that. But, like, this game has amazing graphics. Look at this. She looks... This is like photorealistic 4K, ultra ray tracing, all the things. Like, it looks really, really good. And then you go in-game, and look at that. It's not the same. The hair still looks great. But, like, what? Why is there artifacting all over the hair? Why does it look like a blurry mess? It's like the ugliest thing in the game is your actual hair. And it's the thing you see the most. It's weird. And I'm running the game maxed out. And yes, I've turned off DLSS. Yes, I've tried DLAA. Yes, I've removed frame gen and turned off ray reconstruction. I'm on full cinematic. There's no way to get rid of the weird film grain that they have on that. And that's also another thing that's really, really bothering me. But again, I think 400% is the most fun thing in the entire game. I want more content like that. You know, we had a friend who started playing the game literally this week, right? And we have to help him get his first Ultimate Descendant, where they force you to go back to 250s or even normal missions. And I didn't realize how unbelievably boring they were. Like, there's no enemies. They take forever to spawn. There's massive amounts of waiting and backtracking. It was driving me crazy. 400% maybe just spoiled this out because there's so much more fun than everything else. But, like, I don't know. Like, I'm still having fun. I'm doing my dailies. I'm grinding. I'm getting weapons. I'm upgrading my characters. But once they're upgraded, there's nothing to do. This game is literally a gacha game. Straight up. I should probably make a whole video, honestly, about how this game is just a gacha game. But, like, it's a free-to-play grinder game where you unlock and collect characters for the sake of unlocking and collecting more characters and making them better to not do anything with them. That's every gacha game ever. Except this one, you don't have to spend for the characters. You just get them for free, which is dope. This is very free-to-play friendly. I have no issues with how free-to-play it is. I don't even really have an issue with the grinds. I think the grind is great. I just wish there was a payoff for it. Why don't we have a payoff? The full end game is coming and chilling in this hot tub. Come on. And I have ideas on what they could do, what would be really fun. You know, I don't think it needs PvP or anything. But raids, for sure. I don't know if the game's balanced for raids yet. Now that weapons are a thing, maybe it could happen. But at least a bunch of hard dungeons that give something special, but not something that's required to get farther, because it seems like they just keep adding modes that give you stuff that make doing that mode easier. I don't like it. You know, it's not ideal. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I know there's a lot of stuff coming, a lot of changes, but I want to move on to at least the good stuff they've done recently. You know, we just spent 8 minutes on the crap. This new update did fix one of my issues with the game. Getting these was horribly hard. It was really hard. Ridiculously hard. Getting your sets. They made it so you can actually grind out all of the external components very easily now. You get them from other things. They drop more plentifully from the things that used to happen. Like, you get them more from bosses, and you get them for 400%, which is awesome because they were horrible to grind. They just sucked. They were terrible to grind. And I wouldn't grind them because it wasn't worth it. But now you can actually grind them, and it's fun. Reactors, you know, I think they're adding a way to re-roll them, which is going to be dope. And you're going to be able to re-roll external components as well. I think that'll be huge. And I think when they finally add the skill tree into the game, that's going to buff skills and everything, everything will feel balanced again. But right now, weapons are just by far the best thing in the game. They're OP. Except for the very few encounters, you're forced to only use specific characters like Inez on Defiler. And I get someone's going to say, well, I can clear it with this and that on the solo. The normal player can't. The normal player can't at all. Like, we grind like 10 hours a day. And we're struggling. Like, we do it borderline professionally. We know what we're doing. We know the mechanics. We have the right builds. We're God tier gamers, right? We're all God tier gamers. But it's still hard for the sake of being hard and not fun. Like, some of these mechanics are so anti-fun, it's crazy. And they have been fixing some of them. Like the ice beam on the stalkers is what they were called, the watchers. Like, that was just ridiculously unfun, and they fixed it. So that's awesome. But they need to do more. And I hope they do more, because I don't want this game to die, because it's my favorite game. And I want it to succeed. So with that, I will leave it there. Peace out.